Okay, good morning. So now, as Diana said, the work starts. Class, please, can you, the presentation is this one, okay. So I will give a brief presentation of the framework because many of you have already been in formal innovation camps and we know how we are working, but many of you are maybe the first time. So it's important that we give an overview of how we are going to work these 2 days. We'll go through the agenda and the methodology. So first, as we know, as it has been said and Isabel has said, this is an Interreg project. So for us, we are contributing to the mission of an innovative, sustainable economy in the Med. This is the key issue. And how can we, the cooperation projects, can we contribute to, we have the directional goals like the SDG are the light that is guiding us, no? How can we move from these conditions or the situation of most of the regions we have now? How can we move together and how can these projects contribute to move toward this direction? And we know that there are many projects working in different parts of the economy, not only cooperation projects, but also at the local level, and how it's possible that we mobilize all these kinds of efforts that public administrations, research institutes, universities, technological centers, companies, civil society are doing. How can we be able to build somehow the infrastructure or the spaces that allow us to work together in a more effective way? This is what it's all about. So, many of you have already seen this graphic. When the first time you see it, it's like, oh, come on, what's that? But it's important to understand this because all of our work and the 2 sessions are going to be based on this framework. So we know that the world we live in is complex. The challenges we are facing are really difficult to address. It's not that we are not good enough. It's that the complex are really very challenging. They are global, they are not local, they are shared. And the organizations, the institutions are organized in a way that it's very difficult for us to collaborate and to address these challenges in a collaborative way. We know that there are lots of pressures from the landscape, climate change, demographic trends, artificial intelligence, some good, some bad. There are lots of challenges that are bringing pressure to the current systems. We know that public administrations are not very effective right now in addressing the problems of the people, that there are lots of problems there that cannot be addressed efficiently by public administrations, but neither research centers or universities or neither activists or civil society are able to address these challenges. Because even if we try, it's not so easy to change public administrations or to change because there is cultural things, there are some policies, there are some investments, there are some markets that make really difficult to change things. In order to develop alternatives, when we talk about regenerative agriculture, when we are talking about renewable energies, the solutions that we think that are, or about the bioeconomy, the solutions are there. We know what should be done. But how can we help to do that? And this kind of theory say we have some landscape that is putting pressure, we have a system that it's difficult to change, but there are many actors, and many of you are part of these actors, that are trying to develop alternatives, regenerative agriculture, new ways of managing water, new ways of organizing housing, many different alternatives that are there. These places that are experimental spaces where things are happening that we would like to see that they are the normal things to happen. Now they are the exceptions, they are like very localized. Many times they can be financed by a project, but when the money is not there, the project finishes, this gets forget. How can we make that this energy in developing the alternatives, that many of these cooperation projects are about generating these alternatives, can be connected and can work with the system in order that they become the new normality? That it's all about. The whole methodology is about how, with these kind of projects, because the Interreg Med is a community in which there are many people really trying to move into that direction, how can we connect in different ways, but not only about ourselves, because it's very important to coordinate and to collaborate with the local authorities, with the administrations, with the regional stakeholders that are place-based. How can we make this happen, connecting local with interregional cooperation in order that these solutions that all of us are trying to develop support the transformation of the system? So I'm not going to enter into that. Maybe you had in this welcome kit that Shaima prepared, if you have time to read the guidelines or how we are working in the InterregMed with the Dialogue for Innovation, we are trying to develop transformative innovation policy labs because we have seen, and many of the projects, many of them are here represented also, we are working a lot with living labs. It's not enough. Living labs are not enough. In these living labs that are more focused on technology, on developing new kind of technological solutions, it's important in these experimental spaces to introduce the experimentation in policy, to introduce experimentation in regulation, to introduce experimentation in social, because they cannot be disconnected. They all need to be together, and we need this kind of spaces in which this experimentation, that it's not only technological, but it's also social, regulatory, policy, can happen together. And for that, it's important to have some kind of institutionalization. And it's important, as Alessandro said, to understand that all of us, even if we are working in different institutions, in different projects, are addressing the same challenges. So it's important that we have a common view of the challenges. We understand what can we do together, and what is needed, and what actors are not in place, and we need them in order to address the challenges. And all it's about this. So in this project, we do innovation camps once a year, but we do methodology, we do lots of things that are available in the webpage. So having said all that, you are going to see by practice. We say that all these concepts can sound very theoretical, and reading is not enough. You need to go through practice, and that's what we are going to do during these 3 days. So, as you have seen, we are going to work on 3 place-based challenges: reimagining regenerative peri-urban landscapes, new models of water governance, and circular bioeconomy in rural revitalization. These challenges are not going to be in one place of a region, because we are many people from different regions. Usually when we work with this methodology, we work with the actors that are regional and local. In this case, we are people from many different regions. So we are going to talk about a typical Mediterranean region, but all the cases and all the facilitators, innovators are real ones that have been worked in a real concrete local place. So it's real work we are going to do. And we are going to use the methodologies we use in this project to try to understand if we want to move into a direction of the future, if we want to have a new kind of peri-urban landscape, or we think that we would like to see that circular bioeconomy is really the driver for the revitalization of rural areas. What are the main obstacles and the main facilitators helping us into moving into that direction? And we are going to discuss that. And once we have that, this will be in the morning, and we will share the results of the 3 exercises. And then we will talk about what kind of instruments are there that can help us to be more effective into dealing with these challenges, and that help us into doing this together. And here we have like different, as Alessandro said, we work in our project in the Med community, but we like to build bridges with other institutions and with other projects and with other methodologies. In this case, we have like 2 special guests here. One is Michal from the GRC, Joint Research Institute, Research Center, European Commission. We are working in the preparatory action. Some of the regions here are also joining us. And in this case, our work is about how can we define new experimental spaces, regulatory sandboxes, these spaces in which we can experiment with regulations, with policies, with technology, with social. And we have seen that in this kind of experimentation spaces, it's relevant that we engage the European Commission, because we know that many of the obstacles, for example, for the bioeconomy, are regulations from the European Commission. but we need to engage national levels, regional levels, and local levels, because we know that at local level, there are also things and regulations that don't allow us to make the changes that are necessary. How can we build these spaces in which this kind of collaboration is possible? This is a challenge that we are working in the preparatory action with the GRC. And this exercise that we are going to do today, I want to stress that, because it's not that we are going to play and like this, do some game and try to put all the interesting ideas on the table. But no, what we are going to do today, it's going to be in a report that we are going to try to make a proposal. How can we imagine, how we envision from the Med community this kind of experimental spaces in which different levels of administrations, together with university, research centers, civil society, can work together in order to deliver these goals that we have in the Med and we have in the European Union. So I want to stress that what we are going to be working today, it's going to be in a published report, and we are going to use this to ask, for example, to the Joint Secretariat, for new ideas for the next period, and to the European Commission, new ideas about what kind of experimentatory spaces do we need in Europe. And we also have Mili, for the Friends, Milika, from the United Nations program, because they are working a lot with portfolios approaches, and that is something that we are also working with. Because when you have these complex challenges, it's not about building a strategy, an action plan, a project. We need to learn how to work with portfolios of different actions from different stakeholders also, that really are focused on the problems on the ground. And how we do that, this is also a key issue. So in this roundtable in the afternoon, we are going to talk about this kind of different approach and how we can combine them in order to deliver these results. And when we have all this, we work on imagining these kinds of, so I think that it's important to see, we will work with some vision of the future on the three challenges. We are going to go to work on the obstacles and the facilitators from policy, science, market, society and culture, and investment that make difficult to move into that direction. This will be the first exercise. The facilitators will explain to you all the details of how to do that. And then in the afternoon, we will imagine what kind of experimentation spaces do we need to address together this kind of obstacles and facilitators. So, and this is what we will write a report about. Then, because it's going to be a long day, you will see the last session in the afternoon. Michal Mietzinski with Carla from Climate Kick are going to make a presentation about this preparatory action, the work we are doing to also imagine what kind of experimentation spaces do we need in order to address all these challenges. And it will be more like a game, this afternoon. It would be like more a relaxing exercise because we will be tired. And then, yeah, tomorrow, it's only to say the highlights for tomorrow. We are going to have the showcase of the different innovations that all the projects are providing that will help us to move to address these challenges. So we are going to spend 2 hours like sharing projects and working with them. And then with all the information from today and inspired by all the innovations provided by the project, we are really going to work on co-design these experimentation spaces that will be the main input for the report that we are going to provide as a result of this innovation camp to the Joint Secretariat and also to the European Commission in order to push, because now they are thinking the new program. So if you think that it's interesting enough, of course, if you only with those who agree, we think it's an important option and possibility and opportunity to make like, we say lobby, a little bit of lobby, that if we really believe and we want to move towards these goals that the European Union is asking, we need this kind of experimentation spaces. We need that the European Commission take some decisions, and we need to provide financing and to provide this setting that allow some exceptions in regulations or in policies in order to move in that direction. So with that, I'm finished, and I think that, yeah, you are going to